Hey, welcome back to the channel. I always wanted to talk about these three movies. And this is my video. These are my comparisons and remakes. But all three of these movies are basically the same. I'm going to read them all off. And I liked all three of these movies. Okay. So I just want to make sure I put that out there. But the first time I was turned on to this movie, you know how you flip through all your movies and you're watching movies, you're sitting at home and you trying to find something to watch. Well, I seen this foreign Spanish movie. This movie is a Spanish film. And it's called Rec, which means recording, something like that. This movie came out in 2007. It's a horror thriller, and it's an hour and 18 minutes long. And it's got 90% Rotten Tomatoes. And it's 80% liked. And I really like this movie. You know, this reporter went to this fire station and she wanted to cover how the fire department, you know, she wanted, to record them, spending the night with them and them responding to a call. So when she gets there, well, she picked the unluckiest night to go there because when she went, she they responded to a call and she went with her. She took a reporter to her and they went to this house. Well, this house ended up being quarantined, but what they ended up going inside the house and they had to stay in the house. And the firefighters, she went in with the firefighters and she ended up biting off more and more she could chew, man. I remember the first time I watched this movie, I was like, oh my God, this movie is so good. And it was a Spanish movie. And I was like, because I was really never into foreign films. I was all American film, but this is years back when I first watched this movie. Like I said, this movie came out in 2007. Well, they wouldn't let her out. They wouldn't let the firefighters out. Well, you know how the movie unfolds. One thing led to another. This person drops from the drops down and falls right in front of them, and they're recording and stuff. But she's wanting to keep everything recorded and stuff, and then at first, she's kind of all into it, but then it starts getting worse. Then they end up going up there to this room, and this woman that wouldn't come out, man, she ended up biting this other firefighter, and then it got real after that. And then that's when they knew stuff was really bad. They knew that there was some type of infection inside this house. And so, like I said, this is it's got a 90% Rotten Tomato, and it also has 80% like, and it's a Spanish film. Now, this was the very first film that was made about this, so I was like, wow, this movie, it was so good, man. It was flipping fantastic, so I watched that movie and I was like, wow, man, that was back in 2007. I think I might have watched it back in maybe 2012 or something like that, maybe 13 or something, maybe 14. It was wild. I came across it, I was like, oh, how you look at something, you go, I'm gonna check this movie out. So I did. So, later on, I was like, man, that was a good movie. So I've seen that there was a movie called Quarantine. So I watched Quarantine, right? It's identical, everything, but it's an American-made movie. So for me, it took it down a notch because I felt like they just carbon copied a movie that was like, that was made so well, which was a Spanish film. So when I watched Quarantine, which is made, I just told you guys I don't get into foreign films. I just started watching them and then I'm all in American films. But when I watched Quarantine, it came out in 2008, October 10th of 2008. And it's the same thing, horror thriller, and it's an hour and 29 minutes long, where Rec was an hour and 18 minutes long, and it came out in 2007. So Rec came out in 2007, Quarantine came out in 2008, and then it's a horror thriller, same thing, hour and 18 minutes for Rec, hour and 29 minutes for Quarantine. A Rotten Tomato score for Quarantine, 55%. And I can understand why. Because they didn't think of this. They just copied off of the Spanish film, which was called Rec, which is recording. 86% people liked Rec, 75% liked the USA film, which was called Quarantine. Now, I liked the movie. I really did. I liked the movie, but it's just I was in love with Rec because Rec was the first movie that I seen, and I was like, wow, this movie is just... I'm like, wow, I love that movie. So when I watch Quarantine, it's almost like I was watching just a USA version of a foreign film that they made their way. There might have been some differences, but it was almost down to the exact letter, which Wreck was the original idea and it was the original film. And then somebody in USA wanted to make a USA version of a Spanish film, which was Wreck. But Wreck is the one that started off. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying this. Now, 2011, June 6th, 17th, Quarantine 2 Terminal came out. So I was like, you know what? Because there is a Wreck 2 and a Wreck 3, but I didn't want to watch them. I love Wreck, so I just stayed with Wreck. So 2011, June 17th, okay, Quarantine Terminal came out. Now I came across it, I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. So I was like, you know what? I was bored. You know how you get bored. Everybody gets bored and they want to watch something, right? So I'm like, okay. So it's a horror thriller. And it's, I think it's an hour and, I forgot to put how long the hour. It was an hour and, I think, 15 minutes, maybe an hour and 30 minutes. I forgot. I didn't write it down. 59% light. But it has a better Rotten Tomato score at 75%. And this is another USA film. Okay? Now, I enjoyed Quarantine Terminal because it was different. They were on a plane, and the plane had to land because somebody on the plane was infected. And then they had to go to this terminal. And then when they got to the terminal, the guards and everything locked the terminal down and kept them locked inside. And as they when they were all locked inside, everybody in that terminal was starting to get infected because each time somebody would accidentally get bit by these people or something like that. But I really enjoyed that movie. Just being in that terminal and then the way that guy on that plane first flipped out, man, it was pretty good. And they did a really good job. And I really enjoyed Quarantine Terminal, Quarantine 2 Terminal. I really did. I just liked the fact, and there was a little boy that was on there, and it's so weird because there was this girl that saved his life and got him out of there because they were trying to find a way out of there, so they had to find a blueprint to let them out. And then they did let a couple police officers in because police officers came in and they were fully suited or hazmats or something like that, but they ended up dying because they tried to get out, and when they went out, I think they got shot from the people on the outside because they knew what this virus was doing. This movie was really good to me. I really enjoyed Quarantine 2 Terminal, but but it was just the way it was shot and the way it was in the airplane terminal and some of the things they doing and the way that people was dying and everything and the way they was trying to find a way out, because they wouldn't let them out. So they found out that there was this place that when they was building this place, they forgot all about it, and that's where they were trying to get to. But this woman, which was this stewardess, she was your main character, and this little boy was the main character. She helped him get out. And when she helped him get out, he kept turning around looking at her, and she kept saying, go, go. And, I kind of felt bad for her, and he kept turning around, and she said, go, please go, and he really liked her and stuff. She was trying to save his life, and then when he turned around, he looked, and she pushed him through. And then when he turned around on the outside, because the people on the outside, the military, didn't know this place existed. When he turned around, man, her face came up to the bar, and she had turned, and she was trying to save him before she turned. I really love that. I really love that. So this is in my, remakes and comparisons. So out of all of them, which one do I like the most? Wreck, baby. I like Wreck because it's original. I remember the first time I watched it, I'm sitting there going, oh man, this is a foreign film. Nice. It's weird. I used to be that way with foreign films. I used to be like, man, I don't feel like watching this foreign film. God, I can't stand foreign films. I didn't used to like foreign films. I don't know why, but I just wouldn't give them a shot. And then when I start giving them a shot, there are some excellent foreign films out there. I mean, excellent foreign films out there. I mean, excellent. And that Wreck was just something new and different, and I was just shocked how good it was. So I would say Wreck is my #1 favorite, which came out in 2007. Quarantine 2 came out 2011. That's my second favorite. And then Quarantine, which is just an exact carbon copy of Wreck, that came out in 2008. I enjoyed all of them. I really did. But Wreck, man, that first one was just phenomenal. But anyway, you guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you guys are staying safe out there. And, just, we'll catch you in the next video. This, by the way, could you guys, like, some of y'all, man, consider hitting the like button. I don't ask for subscribers. I just wouldn't mind if you guys hit the like or something, But anyway, we'll catch you in the next video. We'll see you.